Today we are going to study one of the most important topic, that is interview skills.
आप चैनल पे नया है तो सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और बेल बटन को भी ऑन कर दीजिए क्योंकि सबसे पहले हमारा वीडियो देखने के लिए
As we all know, interview is an important selection technique where there is a two-way exchange of information either on one-to-one basis or by an interview panel. The interview gets important information from the candidates and can also judge whether or not they can fit into the organization's culture. With this as a brief introduction, I come to the aim of today's class is to acquaint you all about various interview skills. For ease of understanding and better assimilation, the class will be conducted in three parts as flashed on the screen. In part 1, we will understand what the process of interview involves in it. In part 2, we will study various interview skills. And at the end, in part 3, we will touch upon one of the most important interview for the cadets aspiring to join Indian Armed Forces. Moving on to part 1, interview. What is an interview? As we have discussed earlier, that interview proves important because it connects both the employers as well as job seekers. It assists employers in selecting a right person for a right job. So to define, interview is basically a structured process in which evaluation of employee is carried by the interviewing person. The employee has to undergo various suitability tests, question answer sessions. In other way, the interview gives an opportunity to the candidate to express himself, sell his abilities and interest in front of the interview panel. Now, let's see the various modes of interview. The major modes of interview are as flashed on the screen: telephonic interview or a video conferencing interview where the distances are involved, one-on-one group interview and a panel interview where the candidate sits in front of the group or the interviewing persons. Now, after understanding the modes of interview, now we will see what are the types of interview. First is behavioral interview. It is also called as a competency based interview, in which interviewer asks candidates to recall a specific incident where they were faced with a set of problems and how they reacted on it. In stress interview, where the employer interviewers whose mission is to intimidate the candidate and interview skills. First, we will go through few guidelines which one must follow before and during the interview. A candidate must carry out detailed research of the company where he has applied for a job. Before going to interview, one must reread his resume and the job advertisement. One must try and check himself in a full-length mirror before going to the interview. Rehearsing the likely questions and their answers is also plays very important for achieving the success in an interview. Proper dressing for the interview is very important. One must arrive on the time at the interview venue and check out the competition level. For this, candidate must see how many candidates have applied for the same job. He must try and interact with them and assess the competition level. While facing the interview, one must use appropriate language. One should not talk too much and should not be too familiar with the interviewing panel. One should not show his overconfidence and remain very careful while answering various questions which are asked by the interview panel. After studying the guidelines, now we will see some of the common interview questions, and they are: tell me about yourself, why did you leave the last job, are you applying for other job, why do you want to work for this organization. Now moving ahead on to the one of the most important aspect, that is interview caveats, that only becomes confident, makes a confident posture, remains in good eye contact with the interviewing panel and listens very carefully to the all questions and answers in a daily.
थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग। चैनल पे नया है तो सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और बेल बटन को भी ऑन कर दीजिए ताकि सबसे पहले हमारा वीडियो आपके पास पहुंचे।